mean, it's nice if I can see you, but if you don't want me to, that's fine too. I know when I go on Zoom, I don't always like to be seen either. So it's totally your preference, but I just ask that you listen to your body, keep yourself safe so that, you know, I'm not there in person to kind of watch your alignment and stuff. So we're talking this week about winter warmth and how yoga and principles of Ayurveda and even Chinese medicine can help us basically survive the cold. Because the body does go into kind of a survival mode when it's exposed to cold for long periods of time. And from what I'm hearing, we're in for another shot of it coming up in another week or so. It's going to get really cold again. And I think when I was younger, I could adapt to it better, but all this like running to this class and that class, I'm out in it, you know, and it really has been affecting me this year and finding that, you know, when I come home, I really have to warm myself up because, you know, it's bothering me. So Ayurveda has some recommendations, of course, as well as Chinese medicine. So Ayurveda, a lot of it is dietary, right? What are we eating that could be potentially causing imbalance, either making us more cold or warm, right? And it's very intuitive. So we don't want to eat things that are out of season. Like, for example, we wouldn't want to be eating watermelon and cucumbers this time of year so much, or raw salads. So putting something cold into the body is going to be harder for it to digest when it's cold outside. So if we want to eat those raw foods, it's more intuitive to do so when it's warm outside, right? So even, I mean, we think of all those greens as being really good for us, and they are, but this time of year, they can be really hard for the body to digest. So Ayurveda recommends, and even like for most people, even year round, not having a lot of raw foods. So warm, well-cooked foods. We want to be eating our soups and our stews, and the heavier root vegetables at this time of year is going to warm the body up more. Also thinking about warming spices. So we know, in yoga, we drink our chai tea, right? So the chai teas are really good for warming body up because it has things in it like cinnamon and cloves. Some of them have ginger, cardamom. All these spices are warming for the body. So that's another thing. In one article, it said, drink your glass of wine because the alcohol is warming for the body. So if you like to drink, in moderation, that might be something you could do as well. I'm going to be sharing some articles and things on the website, and maybe I'll even put them in the next email with some other tips along with that. So I don't want to take too much time for chit-chatting. So then when we go into sort of the Chinese medicine perspective, we want to keep our qi flowing, and the cold prevents our qi from flowing. The body will stagnate more when it's cold. Our energy has this natural instinct to draw in. So both yoga, Ayurveda, and Chinese medicine talk about this. For example, you might notice this time of year, your appetite goes up. And that's because the energy is concentrating inward to the body, and it's increasing the internal fire to try and keep the body alive, right? We sense cold, the pores kind of close up, everything starts to draw inward. It's like a survival mechanism. So we may notice we're hungrier because the internal fire is getting stoked up. So we want to really keep the vital organs protected. So Chinese medicine talks a lot about protecting the kidneys at this time of year, keeping your lower back warm, keeping the top of your head warm, the neck area, the chest, the belly. So these kind of like vital organ areas, we do it naturally. We're cold, we huddle up. So it's a natural instinct. So then when it comes to our physical practice, the kinds of things we'll be doing. So I mentioned we just instinctively we close off, right? So poses where we're contracting a bit inward are going to be more heating and warming for the body. So what are those? Twists, right? Twists, we concentrate our energy inward toward our spine. So we'll be doing quite a bit of twisting today. Forward folds, we're compressing, we're closing off the front of the body. So it's concentrating that heat and that warmth inward. I'm trying to think There was something else I was gonna say. I'll get to it when we're practicing. Things where we're compressing, so like eagle, right? So we crisscross our arms, we're concentrating all that energy along our midline. Again, that's gonna be it's gonna conserve our heat, it's gonna keep our energy inward, and it's gonna be better than, like, say I'm like this, then my heat's more dispersed, right? So it's kind of very intuitive of the kind of work we're gonna do today. All right, any questions before we get moving?
Nope.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody. I'm gonna head back to my mat. You are gonna need a block. We're also gonna do a little core work. We know that's heating too. Have a block handy and you can come on your back. And I'll meet you there in a moment. Okay, so everybody's muted. If you have a question as we're going along, you're welcome to unmute and say, hey, what are you doing? Let me know. And I have a light, so all right. So go ahead and come on your back and have that block nearby. Excuse me. Clear my throat a bit. And then we're going to come into Ujjayi breath. So go ahead and come down. You can be flat on your back, feet flat. And we're going to come into Ujjayi breath. So Ujjayi breath, there's a little restriction in the back of your throat as you breathe in and breathe out. It's a very traditional kind of breathing in yoga. And I want you to think as if you're trying to fog a mirror, like when you go, I don't know if you can hear that through the mic, but it's like you're making a ha sound in the back of your throat. But I'd like you to try and do that with your mouth closed. And try to do that both on the inhale and the exhale. An Ujjayi breath is said to bring warmth. It warms the breath as we breathe in and out through our nose and we narrow the airways a little bit. It helps warm the air before it gets into our lungs. So cold air can be very irritating for our lungs. So it's really important to breathe, if you can, through your nose. We breathe through our mouth, we don't get that same benefit of the warming and the filtering of the breath. And then breathe into your abdomen, into your side ribs. And then let's go ahead, put your hands on your side ribs. And just feel the warmth of your hands on your side ribs. And I'd like you to give a little bit of pressure into your ribs. So use your hands and press in a little bit. And that'll restrict the breath a little bit more. So as you inhale, your hands are a bit of a boundary, causing you to just have to work a little bit harder, strengthens those muscles of respiration. And as you exhale, gently press in with your hands and really contract through your belly, your navel, and squeeze all your breath out. Inhale through your nose, Ujjayi breath. With that resistance of your hands on your ribs, and exhale, just a gentle pressure, contract your belly, engage your exhalation muscles. And let's do that for maybe another 2 or 3 rounds. Notice that you're almost concentrating that energy inward as you do that really intentional exhalation. Let's do one more cycle. And then go ahead and release. And just return to normal breathing. And grab your block when you're ready. And we're going to put that block between the inner thighs. So some of the work we're doing today is going to be about really hugging the midline. And that hugging the midline is that idea of really bringing all of our energy into the center of the body. So we're going to squeeze that block between the inner thighs. And then take your arms and cross them over your chest like you're giving yourself a big hug. Now take an inhale, exhale, squeeze the block, squeeze your arms across your chest, and press your lower back down into the floor. And then again, inhale, almost like relax on the inhale here. And then exhale, squeeze. And this time as you squeeze, curl up. Now, if the curling up's too much, you can always just work on the ground. Inhale, come down. Exhale, curl up, squeeze your arms, squeeze your block, press your lower back down, and continue. This time, as you come up, go over to the right, like a little bit of a side core, back to center, and down. Inhale in the down position, exhale, curl up, and over to your other side. Good, now we're gonna keep going. If you want more, you're gonna pick your feet up as you exhale. So we're gonna inhale, exhale, pick your feet up, curl in, and then go over to one side, squeeze, and then back down. Inhale. Exhale, curl up, squeeze, and go over to the other side. And back down. Now one more stage. If you want even more, you're gonna stay up. So you're gonna go over to one side, stay up, and then go over to the other side, back to center, and down. All right, so keep that going. And if you, I got one more stage actually. One of my students calls me the queen of add-ons. So you could go to eagle arms. So that's gonna be a little more challenging for your shoulders. So if you want, you're gonna have eagle arms, lift up, go over to one side, and then the other side. Okay, so let's do a few more and then we're gonna switch the arms. So make it your own practice. As you guys keep going, I'm gonna say one more thing. It's hard to do all that and talk. The other important thing is we don't deplete our energy. So if you've been affected by the cold, you feel depleted, then I want you to back off and not go so intense, right? Because we don't wanna deplete that little bit of energy we have left. We wanna hold on to that vital energy. So we wanna move, right? The movement's gonna keep us warm, keep us from being stagnant, but we also don't wanna work so hard that we deplete the energy that we have remaining. Now let's go ahead and switch. So whichever arm was on top, let's put the opposite arm on top. And if you want, you go right into your eagle. You can do a few of the shoulder hugs. You can do just up and down. You could do side to side. So you have lots of options. And we'll keep it going for a few more moments on side two. And if you want, you can even stay up and just go a little side to side and don't take that break in between, but again, monitor your energy levels. That core work is working in and around the area of our abdomen, our solar plexus, really big area of heat in the body. We want a warm belly, right? We don't want our digestive tract to get cold. That's going to really affect things as far as digestion goes. So let's do a few more and then we'll be done with this. Okay, last round. And then let it all go. Set your block to the side and just do a little windshield wiper, release that work. And just notice, if you've now generated some heat for yourself, do you feel maybe a little bit warmer than you did when we first came to the mat? Let's go ahead, roll to the side, and we're gonna come on up into a seated position. Now we're gonna sit up nice and tall. Feel free to use props today as you like. You can sit up on something if you prefer. Okay, so we're gonna make fists and lean over a little bit. Bring your knuckles to the space between your rib cage and your lower back. So it's kind of the area we targeted last week, those lower back muscles. And I want you to just go up and down with your knuckles. And just kind of friction on the lower back here. This is the kidney band area that we want to really keep warm in the winter time. Let's give it a good rub. And then release and come up and just kind of feel that warmth in your lower back. And then 2 hands over your heart center. And again, circle around now over the heart center. And just feel the warmth of your hands warming up the fascia underneath your skin. So the fascia tends to tighten up, stiffen up in the cold weather. And again, we want to really work on these vital organ areas, keeping them warm. And then belly. So below your navel in particular, make those circles with your hands till you feel that nice warmth. All right, and then release. Let's go ahead, come into all fours, tabletop position, and we'll do our cat-cows. But I'd like you to grab your block and put your block between your inner thighs so that we get more of this concentrated energy. So block between the inner thighs, and then cat-cows, inhale. And as you exhale, squeeze your block, pull your tailbone down, pull your nose toward your tailbone, and squeeze your belly, squeeze your abdomen, really concentrate into the core of your body. And then reverse. Inhale, we come into the arched back. And then exhale, really slow it down and compress and squeeze. Keep going. Some teachers I've worked with also practice visualizing this fire or flame in your abdomen. That's your digestive fire and what is called in yoga the Agni. The Agni is a Sanskrit word that refers to our inner fire. And we want to bring that energy inward to that inner fire as it gets cold outside. Let's do one more round. And then we're going to go ahead and take that block out, come into child's pose. And just take a breath or two in your child's pose. Okay, come back up into all fours. And now we're going to come into Gomukhasana legs, or sometimes it's similar to eagle legs. We're going to take our right leg in front of our left leg. And we're crossing at the whole inner thigh, and our feet go to opposite sides of the mat. And now take an inhale, and as you exhale, go back into that rounded spine. And as you do so, really squeeze your inner thighs, your belly, and lift up your pelvic floor. And then repeat. Inhale, come into the cat-cow action again. Exhale, round, squeeze those legs, lift the belly, lift the pelvic floor. And one more. And then come back to neutral. Keep the legs where they are and sit back any amount. And almost like your belly's going to be right on your inner thigh there. Let your head come between your arms. Push your hands forward. You don't have to sit all the way back. My hips are still off the ground. And then come back up and uncross your legs. Other side. Cross the left leg in front. Feet go out toward opposite sides. Take an inhale. Exhale, round and squeeze in. Really squeeze those inner thighs. Lift your pelvic floor. Two more. And after you finish the third one, you'll come back to neutral and do that little sit back movement. So just draw your hips back, press your hands forward and breathe. Belly on that inner thigh. So pelvic floor, really good to work with that as well. The yogis say our life force energy can exit through our pelvic floor if it's not strong. And so again, we want to conserve that energy. Come back, uncross the legs. Okay, let's go ahead and take our blanket off. If you have a blanket down, I always put mine down because it's cold here in the morning. And I have a tile floor underneath my carpet here. So I always start with that. So it's up to you. And then we're gonna find down dog when you're ready. Lift your hips up, pedal it out. Warm up the backs of the legs. So the backs of the legs correspond to the bladder meridian in Chinese medicine. And that's the pair that goes with the kidneys. They're the dominant pair for winter. And so hamstrings can get a little tight, short through our back chain. So if we pedal it out here, we're starting to wake up that whole back line, which is our bladder meridian. All right, from here, come forward into a top of a push-up plank pose. Feel free to drop your knees. I'm just gonna show the modification. Dip your tailbone down, take an inhale, and over 5 breaths, start to bend your elbows. So inhale, exhale, bend. Inhale, exhale, bend, and keep going. Keep the tailbone dipping down. We're using a lot of upper body strength, very heating. And after 5 breaths, you're all the way to the floor. And if you need to come down sooner, come down sooner. Stretch your legs back and inhale, cobra. We're gonna do 5 cobras. So keep that going, 5 cobras. Back bends are also considered heating for the body. However, I think for winter and we're conserving energy, belly down back bends are going to be better because our vital organs are more on the ground, more protected, and we're not letting the cold hit the front of the body like we would in a bridge or a wheel. And then after your 5th one, let's go ahead, press to table, back to down dog. On your inhale, take your right leg straight up. And as you exhale, bring your knee to your nose, shoulders over your wrists, and squeeze in. Now, if this is too much, do it in table. Inhale, extend the leg, exhale, knee in. Let's do the same leg another round. Inhale, reach it high. Exhale, squeeze in, hold it, and then release. Other side, you can do this in table or down dog. Inhale, leg up. Exhale, knee to nose, squeeze it in. 2 more. Nice long exhales, compact your body. And then back to down dog. Walk it forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. And then inhale all the way up when you're ready. And hands to your heart. Okay, take a pause there, root through your feet. Lift up through the crown of your head. Separate your feet now about outer hips distance. Make fists, and then we're gonna do this little called the kidney knock. So you're like knocking your fists on that area between your lower back and the back of your pelvis. Make a little jump start for that area. Okay, come back slowly to the center. Step your feet in maybe like regular hips distance. Take your arms out to a T, and let's twist to your right. So start to twist to your right, but now take your right hand, wrap it around your back, and tuck your hand in between your rib cage and your pelvis and draw down. And then take your other hand, so your left hand to your right rib cage, right underneath your chest, and draw back with that hand, with the left hand, and draw down with the other hand. And now breathe, lift up tall. And as you exhale all the breath out, and then release. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. So starting coming in these like more beginner twists here, just noticing how that concentrates the energy into the center of the body. Arms out, twist to your left. Bring your left hand behind your back, tuck it in, and then the other hand to your rib cage. Draw down with your back hand. Use your front hand to draw the rib cage around into that twist. And then stand up tall through your center. And take a nice long exhalation, concentrating into your center. And then release. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Halfway lift. And fold. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, we're gonna go through a few regular sun salutations. They're a really great way to warm the body up. So come to the top of your mat and we'll do Surya Namaskar A. So Surya Namaskar A is named for the sun. Surya is the name of the sun in the yoga tradition. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back, high plank. You can drop knees if you like. We're gonna go slowly down. You don't have to count out 5 breaths, but go slowly down. Build that heat. And then inhale, cobra or up dog. I'm just gonna go for cobra this first round, and then down dog. You can also go to knees if you wanna modify, or straight to dog. Inhale, and as you exhale, walk it forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift, and fold. And this time as you inhale, make a big circle with your arms, and hands to heart. So you can also have a little back bend there at the top, yeah. Okay, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back, plank. And lower down. Cobra or up dog and downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, top of the mat. Halfway lift. And fold. Inhale, big circle. And hands to the heart. Very good. Okay, now we're going to change it up and we're going to go to Surya Namaskar B. So Surya Namaskar B adds in a chair pose and a warrior 1. If you need to modify, you can also skip the lowering down and just go right to dog. Okay, so I'll cue that. Stand tall. Let's take a breath or two. So there was a mythological persona, let's say, in the yoga mythology named Hanuman. Hanuman was a mischievous monkey and he got sent to the sun to be a student. And so Surya was his teacher. And Surya wouldn't take any payment. So she just taught him out of the goodness of her heart. Hanuman created this sequence, allegedly, to honor his teacher, the sun, and said, now all of humanity will remember you forever and ever when they practice Surya Namaskar. So that's the story. We're gonna bend our knees, chair pose. And when we go into chair, we usually use a lot of our quadriceps. Quadriceps are really good for building heat. Hold here another breath. And the next exhale, fold forward, halfway lift, step back to your plank, or you can go right to dog, and then lower down, cobra or an up dog. And down dog. Now, if you need help stepping forward, you could drop to your knees and step forward. Otherwise, right leg up. Step that foot through. Back heel down, warrior one. Reach your arms up. Hold here for a breath. Press your feet into the floor. Reach your arms up. We're gonna do 2 rounds. 1 round, kind of a slower teaching round, and then another round to rhythm. Release your hands down. Step back to dog or plank. Lower down, cobra or your up dog. So up dog, knees are off the floor, arms are straight. Inhale, left leg up. Step through, or you could do knees down. Back heel to the floor, reach your arms up. Hold here. Press your feet down, reach your arms up. And then hands down. Step back to dog or plank and lower down. So we call that the full vinyasa. Meet in dog. Inhale, and as you exhale, top of the mat. Halfway lift. And fold. Bend the knees back to chair pose, sit low, weight goes back into your heels. And then hands to heart. Good. Okay, take a moment now. We're gonna do that again this time. Tempting to do 1 breath per movement. The Surya Namaskars really get our blood flowing, get our circulation going. Bend the knees, chair. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Dog or step back, lower down. Go through your back bend. Down dog. Inhale, right leg up. Step through. Warrior one. You guys are doing great. Hands down. Step to dog or full vinyasa. Meet in dog. Inhale, left leg. Step through. Warrior one, back heel down. Hands down, step back. Lower. Meet in dog. Inhale. Exhale, top of the mat. Halfway lift. And fold. Bend the knees, chair pose, sink low. Weight into your heels. And back up to stand. Take a breath or two. Very good. Sorry, I have to fix my mat. It's always moving and shifting on me. Okay. Stand up nice and tall. Full breath in, full breath out. Check in with that warmth that you're now feeling. Make sure we're not depleting. And we're gonna go back to chair. Feet and legs all the way together, like you're gonna compress those inner thighs. And then press your palms together, lift your elbows. Lengthen the back of your neck. See if you might sit your seat a little lower. And then check in with your lower back. If you're overly arching, lift that low belly. And then prayer twist to your right. See if you can hook your elbow over your thigh. That's it. Now, once you're there, press your palms together and rotate and take a couple of nice long exhalations. Let's hold it there. One more breath. Squeeze that belly. And then next inhale all the way up, straighten your legs. Reach the arms overhead. And hands to heart. Okay, side two, bend the knees, come into your chair, feet and legs together. So we're conserving that heat in the center channel of the body. Lift the elbows, lengthen your neck, and then prayer twist. Hold it there, press your palms together, squeeze your inner thighs, lengthen your spine, and a long exhalation, squeeze the belly. And then all the way up. And hands to heart. Very good. Okay, so blocks at the top of the mat. You may or may not need them for this first round. Later rounds, you're gonna want them, so just have them there. So we're gonna be stepping back and going through some warriors and some different poses. So if you wanna put hands on the floor, you can, or you can put hands on blocks to step back, okay? Mountain pose. Full breath in, full breath out. And then bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, fold, hands to the floor or block, step your right foot back. Spin that heel to the floor, cartwheel your arms up, you're in a warrior two. Square your chest to the long edge of your mat. Okay, now from here, take your arms into that shoulder hug, back arm is on top. So that would be your, I'm getting myself confused because I'm mirroring you. Whatever your back arm is gonna be on top. Okay, so now we're kind of consolidating our energy here. Sink a little lower into your warrior and draw your tailbone down. Hold it here, press your feet down into the floor. And we're holding for a few breaths, which builds heat and builds stability. Good, now we're gonna straighten the front leg. Parallel your feet. And then turn your feet out about 45 degrees and bend your knees. So we come into like a squat. Again, using those thighs, gonna build heat. Now we're gonna add a twist. We're gonna twist toward the right over 5 breaths. Keep the tailbone down. Inhale, lengthen the crown. Exhale, start to twist toward the front leg. Inhale, exhale, twist a little more. Keep going. Every exhale, you're twisting a little more. Keep your pelvis forward. We're just twisting through that upper body. Go back to the center. Stay here or eagle arms. Sink a little lower into those hips. You can stay here or start to hinge forward. And we're squeezing those arms, using the legs, get as low as you want to go. You might stay with legs bent. Or you can straighten your legs, parallel your feet, and go into a straight leg forward fold. Keep squeezing those arms. Let everyone release the arms, straighten the legs if you haven't. And we're going to straighten the arms and pivot around to the front of your mat. So your left foot should be forward, right leg back. Stay here for a breath. Now we're going to drop down onto the back knee and widen your front foot. This is sometimes called dragon pose. In yin yoga, it's called dragon pose, also called lizard lunge. Big hip opener, but it can be very heating for the body. You can stay up on your palms, or you have your blocks. You might drop to your forearms, or you might go all the way to the floor, depending on your body. We're going to stay for a couple of breaths. Let the heat build a little bit. Okay, slowly come up on your palms again, whether you're using blocks or not. Let's go ahead and bring that foot back to center. Front foot back to center. Then we're gonna straighten the front leg. So you're gonna have to wiggle the foot forward a little bit and then straighten the front leg. So we come into Hanuman. This is half Hanuman, the pose named for the student of the sun. The full split is his pose, but we're not doing that today. Now we're gonna hug the midline, inner thighs, squeeze them towards each other. You can stay here, maybe folding over that front leg if you wanna go further. Or some of you are gonna sit back on your back heel. So you're gonna drive that heel back, sit back on the heel. Again, inner thighs hug towards each other, maybe walk it out into that deeper fold, okay? Again, listen to your body. You can stay in that half split. You don't have to sit back like this. Or you might fold or not fold. Keep drawing to the midline and a long exhale. We need some hamstring opening, again, that bladder meridian for a pose we're doing later. And then start to shift forward, come back to your hands or your blocks. Lift your back knee and step it forward. Fold over your legs. And then inhale, reach your arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Very good. Okay, we're gonna do that sequence on the other side. Let me just check our time. It's going fast. Okay. Bend the knees, chair pose. Hands down. Step your left foot back into the lunge, and then we're gonna drop down onto that back heel and cartwheel the arms up into your warrior two. So I'm gonna switch sides so I don't have my back to you guys. Okay. And then you're gonna take your back arm, cross it into that shoulder hug. And squeeze across your chest. Square your chest toward the long edge of your mat and draw your tailbone down. See if you might come a little deeper into your warrior. Using that quadricep gives you more fire. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, from here, straighten your front leg, parallel the front foot, and then turn your both sets of toes out. Bend the knees, come into your squat. Aim your tailbone down. Don't be a booty sticker outer like we talked about last week. Okay, we're gonna twist toward the front. Inhale, exhale, twist over 5 breaths. And after 5 breaths, come back through center. And you can stay here or take eagle arms. Okay, you can stay here or drop down. And we use those legs more. Press in your heels, maybe you drop a little lower. Maybe you straighten your legs and parallel your feet. And then let's all release hands, parallel the feet, straighten the legs, and fold. Come back up, straight arms, pivot around to the front of your mat. Blocks if you need them. We're gonna drop down onto that back knee. And we'll find dragon pose. The dragon sounds better for today because it's more heat, thinking about more heat than the lizard, which is more cold, right? So dragon pose. You're gonna bring your blocks, your hands to the inside of your front foot. And you may or may not drop down onto your forearms and hold now for 5 breaths. And let that heat build. Last holding a pose gives us more stability rather than always moving so quickly can be dissipating for our energy. After 5 breaths, coming back up onto your hands, walk your front foot into center. And then we're coming into that half Hanuman. Straighten your front leg. You need to wiggle that heel forward. We don't want the back all rounded here. And then hug those inner thighs to the midline. You can stay here or fold over your front leg or sit back. So then we drag that heel back, move your blocks or your hands back, and sit back on your back heel. So again, that's more consolidated. We're more compressed here in our body. We're squeezing into the midline and folding if you can. Opening the back of the knee, also good for the lower back and the kidney area. Okay, slowly start to pivot forward, back onto that front foot, blocks if you need them. Lift the back knee and step forward and fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. All right, very good. We're gonna go through one more standing sequence. We're gonna kind of include some of that stuff we just did, and we're gonna add some things on. We're gonna change it up a little bit. Okay. Mountain pose. Inhale, reach, chair pose. Sit low if you can. Hands come down. Step your right foot back. Back heel to the floor, this time warrior 1. So reach up right through center instead of opening to the side. Okay, arms out to a T. We're gonna bring our right hand in front and either go for that shoulder hug or eagle arms. All right, root through your feet, squeeze the arms together. Take an inhale, exhale, hinge forward. You might go a little bit, you might go all the way. Go inside the front foot, front leg, and squeeze those arms together. And maybe straighten your front leg. So it's like pyramid pose with eagle arms. And really squeeze to that midline. Now unwind your arms, hands to the floor or your blocks. And now we're in regular pyramid pose. Step that back foot in a little bit. Both legs straight, hug the midline. Okay, we're setting up here now for twisted triangle. It's a very warming pose for the body. Take your block that's in your right hand to the inside of your front foot, any level that works for you. And then we're gonna bring the left hand to your heart. Now I'm gonna have to turn away from you for a moment, but inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, turn your heart to the left and really squeeze those inner thighs, squeeze the midline. And turn and lengthen at the same time. Go as far as you want. And eventually that top arm might reach up. As you exhale, really give that abdomen a squeeze. And then release, hand down. Step forward. Fold over your legs. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale to your heart, take a pause. We've got one more round to go, then we're gonna cool it down. Breathe in, breathe out. One more. Next inhale, chair pose, bend your knees. Good, release hands to the floor or your blocks. Left foot back, left heel down, Warrior one. So we're facing forward, short edge of the mat. Arms out to a T. Left arm on top, shoulder hug or eagle arms. And then we're gonna squeeze those arms together. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, hinge forward. You might go part way, you might go inside that leg and fold in more deeply. Keep the back outer hip squeezing into the midline. Some of you straighten the front leg. Always listen to your body. Inner thighs are drawing in. And then release your arms and fold into pyramid. Step your back foot in a little. You might need your blocks. Okay. Now setting up for that revolved triangle. Block that's in your left hand to your right big toe side of your foot. Right hand to your heart. Inhale, reach your heart forward as you squeeze those inner thighs and then start to turn open. And now you're going to do that with your breath. Lengthen, inhale, exhale, twist as far as you want to go. And really squeeze those inner thighs. Maybe that arm reaches up. Maybe you stay hand at your heart. Last exhale, squeeze that middle line of the body. And then release, hand comes down, step forward, fold over your legs, you made it. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Take a moment now in your mountain pose. Now, we're running out of time, but if we had more time, a good progression from that would be going into full eagle. But I want to give you guys some cool down time. So we're not going to go there today, but maybe some of the other classes this week will change it up and we'll do that. So stand for another breath. Feel all that warmth and heat you generated to that inner channel of your body. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back to down dog. And then knees to the floor, child's pose. And then just take a moment there in child's pose. Rest and conserve that energy again. Let's take another 2 or 3 breaths. Okay, one more active thing that won't take that long. We're gonna do what would be considered a headstand prep. So we're not gonna go up into a full headstand. I'm not there to watch you guys. So I don't want you to do that. I don't want anyone to get hurt out there in cyberland. But a headstand prep, we bring the head to the earth, which can be more grounding and more warming. So when it comes to the 5-element theory, we have the earth, which is the ground, and then fire's in the middle, and then the air and space is at the top. And so the head can be very affected by air and wind. You know, our ears can bother us. There's some acupressure points when exposed to the air can, you know, cause problems. So bringing the head to the ground can be more like that calming effect on the head. And there's this major acupressure point at the top of the head that we stimulate when we do a headstand. So we're gonna clasp the hands and put your forearms on the floor. Elbows are just shoulders distance apart. And we're gonna walk our knees in and see if we might lightly place the head between the hands. Now, depending on your arm length, your neck length, your head may or may not even touch the floor, and that's okay. But just make sure the back of the neck is long and you're not kinking it. And then press into your arms. You can stay right here.
Some of you might tuck your toes and lift your knees and walk your feet in. And now we might get kind of that front edge of the head toward the floor. It doesn't have to be the top of the head. It's more like right above the hairline is where it hits for me. And then press into your arms. Hold it there. Lift up through your hip creases. Or your knees could stay on the floor. Let's hold it there 2 more breaths. Try not to compress your neck in any way. And then knees down, child's pose. All right, come on up when you're ready into a seated position. You may or may not want a blanket to sit on, depending on your hamstrings, your lower back. So just a little pillow or blanket can be enough. And we're going to take the legs out into a straddle. Point your knees and your toes up toward the ceiling. And then take your arms out wide. And we're going to bring right arm on top and either do your shoulder hug or your eagle arms. Okay, press your thighs down, lift your elbows up, take an inhale, and as you exhale, twist to your right, again, over those 5 breaths. So inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. You're twisting toward the right leg. Now, as you do this, power your left thigh into the ground. That's going to help you twist. Again, using the thighs is heat building. Now, stay here and start to hinge forward, keeping that opposite thigh powering down into the floor, and eventually release your arms and come into the forward fold. And breathe. All right, slowly start to walk yourself back up and let's make our way back to center. Okay, other side. Inhale, reach the arms out wide. Good, and now we're gonna bring that left arm on top. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, start to twist. And then we're twisting over those 5 breaths. Powering that right thigh into the ground. And eventually start to come into the fold and keep powering the thighs down into the ground. Only go as far as it feels good for you, and then release your arms and stay in the fold for a few breaths. Good, and then slowly walk yourself back up to the center. Bring the soles of your feet together. Now we're just gonna do a little energy kind of work here. I want you to find your ankle bone. And then right below your ankle bone, between your ankle and your heel, is a little indentation. And that's a kidney acupressure point. You can rub it with your thumbs. You can massage it with your knuckles. You could friction it. Just kind of bring some energy there into that kidney. I think it's kidney 3. Let me see here. Yeah, kidney 3. And this can be beneficial for our immune system and also help us fight fatigue. So the cold can bring in fatigue. So our kidneys are said to be where we store our vital energy. So important to keep them warm in the winter, but bring energy through the channels of the acupressure points can be helpful. Now we're going to go up. Measure about 4 fingers from the top of your ankle bone where your pinky finger ends. You're going to put your knuckles there and you're just going to massage up and down. And you're going to kind of do a little friction there. And this is the energy channel of the spleen and the kidneys and the liver. We're hitting also spleen 6 point, which is very important as well for immune system and fatigue as well. It's also a hormone balancing area. Okay, and then release that. Now you can almost feel like there's a little bit of warmth and energy flow going from our feet up our legs. So just encourage the energy flow through those channels. And then let's go ahead and take a fold. The kidney 3 is also good for earache. So I know for me with the cold, my ears were bothering me for a few days. So that might be a good point to work for that as well. And just take some nice, long, deep breaths. All right, very slowly starting to bring yourself up, bring your knees up, and then let's go ahead, come on your back. Maybe you want a pillow under your head. If you know you're gonna get chilly in Shavasana, make sure you have some layers or blankets. Really important to be warm as we relax, because as we relax, that center channel of heat starts to now dissipate out into the body, and you might feel differently, right? You might feel warmer, you might feel cooler, but we want to make sure that we're prepared with any props we might need. Okay, so let's bring these into chest, give a good hug and rock on your lower back when you're ready. And that rock on the lower back is soothing for that kidney region. Kidneys and adrenals in there. And if you want happy baby, if that's a pose you'd like, you could come into that. With or without rocks. It feels good. All right, and then hug in whenever you're ready. We're gonna find Shavasana. So take your time, support your lower back by bending the knees, some support under the knees if you want that. And we'll come into our resting pose. So important to have adequate rest in the cold weather. So, if we get depleted, there's shorter days. That's nature's cue to us that we need more sleep, more rest. But again, if we get too much rest, then we'll feel more sluggish. So we have to honor those cycles of the sun. And just come into that nice relaxed breath in your abdomen, your rib cage. And as you relax, just imagine all that heat we generated starting to circulate through your body. Particularly into your extremities. When we get cold and that heat starts to retract into our center, then we can get colder in our hands and our feet and our head. So imagine warmth radiating out through the arms, into the hands, down into the legs, into the feet, and up and out into the head. Maybe it's helpful to visualize a warm color. So we have the warm colors of the sun, like the oranges, the yellows, the reds. So imagine those warm colors filling the body. So I'll share a poem as you continue to rest. This is called Embracing Winter by Mark Robert Frank. I wonder at my readiness for winter as I step into the darkness, filled with the creaking of unseen branches overhead and crunching ice beneath my feet. Coldness caresses coldness. When first light breaks, I see yesterday's snow nestled in the furrows of a cornfield that has taken leave. And coldness nestles within coldness. Here, a black pond gazes up at the gray sky as if calmly recognizing an old friend. And there, a broken barn door hangs open, welcoming the sunless morning. And coldness welcomes coldness. And I too feel myself beginning to open to the possibility of welcoming another winter and warming up to coldness being coldness and to being a sun for the world on an otherwise sunless day. Let's take our time. We'll slowly start to come back. Gentle, small movements. Take your time to come to your side when you're ready. And we'll Now come on up into a seated posture in your own time, sitting up nice and tall. And we're just gonna do another little kind of acupressure energy work to close out. So once you're seated, rising up to your center, we're gonna bring our hands to the top of the head. So these are areas that we want to keep warm, keep sheltered in the cold weather, and that we kind of targeted in some of our practice today. So we're going to just kind of massage or circle around the center of the top of the head. That's that acupressure point there that we want. We always put a hat on our head, right? Conserve that energy. Heat leaves through the head. So just kind of massaging that acupressure point there. Okay, and then release. And we're going to go into the back of the head. This is the wind palace point right in the center back of the skull. Massage there. So you want to keep the back of the neck warm too. We wear scarves around the neck. Okay, and then we're going to bring our hands in front of our heart. Feel that warmth and circle over the heart and the chest. Our chest can get cold, and then, you know, we can get those respiratory things going on. So bringing some good warmth there. And now make those fists, and we're going to do the kidney area. So kind of friction in the kidney area. I'm going to keep the lower back warm. And then finally, below the abdomen, 2 hands, circle around the lower abdomen, keeping our digestive fire warm, our vital organs warm. And then hands to the heart. And just feel and notice all those areas we just warmed up. And take an inhale, exhale, bow to your heart. Namaste. All right, go be a sun to the world on this